Viewers, the controversy around Aditya Dhar's film Dhurandhar has now taken an international turn, with foreign publication, The Economist, publishing a scathing critique on the film that seems to be targeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The magazine, in its article titled "Is Bollywood's latest mega-hit propaganda for Narendra Modi?" calls the film unusual, jingoistic Bollywood fare. One excerpt of the article reads, and I'm quoting that particular excerpt, "The usual jingoistic Bollywood fare casts Pakistan as the sole foe. In Dhurandhar, the enemies are everywhere, Pakistanis of course, but also Indian opposition parties, Muslim butchers, Sikh separatists, NGOs and lefties." At one point, the spy master laments India's weakness, telling an underlying that they must wait for a muscular leader before they can tackle the menace of Pakistan. There is only one hero in this film, and it is not the undercover agent. Now, this is an excerpt from this article by The Economist. Now, this is significant, viewers, because a foreign publication has now entered the debate and has framed a blockbuster film as political messaging linked to India's Prime Minister. Let's go across to my colleague Pranesh, joining us live right now from the newsroom. We also have with us our guest joining us on this discussion on this particular story. We have Lalit Ambardar, who is an activist, Akashdeep Muni, who is a political analyst. Good afternoon to all of you. Pranesh, to you first. The title is Bollywood's latest mega-hit propaganda for Narendra Modi? Literally, The Economist has taken it to another level.
Hina, I'm not surprised. I am just going to ask our viewers to do one homework, if I can phrase it that way. I want our viewers who are watching our broadcast and people who've read this piece in The Economist to just Google how The Economist came into being. Who was the person who set it up, and what was the purpose of The Economist, when it was set up? Any person who finds the answer to these three questions will not be surprised, like I am not surprised by this unvarnished propaganda. This review of the film Durandar, the review is unvarnished propaganda, and it is full of double standards, duplicity, and everything that you associate with hypocrisy. I'll give you one example. Now, the review, among many things, goes on to ridicule a film like Kashmir Files. Now, people may not agree with the gore, violence. They will say that the casting was not good, the length to which director Vivek Agnihotri went in showing something may not be to their standards, but that is not how cinema or popular culture works. Kashmir Files shows the grim reality of what happened to Kashmiri Hindus in the 90s. The exodus, how they were hounded, how, the religious places were used to blare out religious slogans. All of that is reality, and most of it finds a mention in the film. So while the film is about Durandar, that mindset comes out of the writer of the magazine itself when they take pot shots at the film that talks about the exodus of Kashmiri Hindus. Now, you can be unhappy with Dhurandhar, the storyline, screenplay, etc. But who are you to tell us how war films should be made or how spy series should be made? I mean, look at the films that the UK has been producing, Hollywood has been producing, and films that have got a thumbs up from, magazines like Economist and the ilk. So it just tells you that this is part of a motivated campaign. But the heartening part is that the film had many purposes. I would like to believe that. Aditya Dhar, not just wanted to tell a story. Maybe he wanted to correct the narrative. And the after effect is seen, because after days of domestic politics and, usual blame game, people trivializing Durandar, Pakistani terror, etc. Now, Durandar is being talked about abroad also. And people who are against India's rise, India's soft power, anything good that India, strives to do, they are now feeling the heat.
Absolutely. It is being noticed. That's also an underlying message that one can really, interpret out of this particular article that has been written in The Economist. Pranesh, stay on with us. Let me go across to our guests as well. Dr. Akashdeep Muni, do you agree that this is part of a motivated campaign?
The film claims that Pakistan ISI and underworld pumped 60,000 crore in five fake notes, specifically to buy UP elections. And this justifies demonetization as a heroic counter. Now, reality is that official data shows that there was only 43 crores in fake currency detected nationwide, throughout the whole nation. So here Aditya Dhar wants to justify demonetization done by
Dr.
BJP
Akashdeep Puri, with due
fictitious
respect,
lies
I
that
have not
BJP.
watched this movie, so I cannot really, contest the points that you're making. Let's stick to what we are discussing right now. We are discussing an article, a review that has come in The Economist of this particular film, and how The Economist is saying that this Bollywood's latest mega hit is actually a propaganda for Narendra Modi. So perhaps we'll discuss the film some other day, but why don't you tell me, is it part of a sinister plan, sinister campaign against India, the Naya Bharat that we are talking about?
See this Naya Bharat thing. Had there been a Naya Bharat, our rupee should not have stooped down to 95. It would have risen. It have not gone down as per
आकाशदीप
in
पुरी
comparison
जी,
to dollar.
ना तो हम रूपी डिस्कस कर रहे हैं अभी, ना हम अभी नया भारत डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. मैं एक बार फिर से आपके पास आती हूँ, थोड़ा अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन करने की कोशिश करती हूँ. हम अभी डिस्कस कर रहे हैं इकोनॉमिस्ट में जो एक रिव्यू किया है धुरंधर फिल्म का, पार्ट 2 अभी आई है, बहुत लोग उसको देख रहे हैं और उन्होंने खुद लिखा है लेटेस्ट मेगा हिट. So that gives you an idea how big this film really has become. It has shattered several records, not just in India, but across the world as well. And that's why today it is being talked about. So I want to ask you, since you've already seen the film, is it a propaganda for Prime Minister Narendra Modi? Or do you think this article, as Pranesh mentioned, is a part of a motivated campaign against India?
See, after watching the film, I can stand by the Economist that this is a propaganda movie.
Okay.
Of done by Bharatiya Janata Party, supporting Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay,
And
Lalit
this is not
Ambardar,
telling me.
please respond. Third time,
Yeah.
finally, we got an answer from Dr. Akashdeep Muni. So he also believes, he thinks whatever the Economist has written is absolutely right. He believes in every word probably that has been written. How will you like to respond?
I'm not surprised. What Economist has produced, the basis and the roots of that particular content can be traced to India. The left, liberal, plus Islamist cabal, which is fundamentally, chronically, and rabidly against Narendra Modi, they are spewing venom day in and day out, and that's how the foreigners are picking up and reproducing the same thing in their publication. So if Durandar is a publicity movie for Narendra Modi, one should argue, refer to UK film, James Bond film. James Bond post-Second World War films in West were produced only to demonize Soviet Union, demonize Hitler. And that Hitler was genuinely a demon. But what about Soviet Union? Can you imagine? In James Bond movies, USSR would be presented as a Satan. And James Bond will always, if you watch the James Bond movies, every time as a villain would be shown, he would be shown with golden teeth, referring him, linking with some way to Russia. Even now, they produce the same stuff, continue to produce the same stuff. While as Durandar is based on is inspired by actual facts. You may contest the number of the amount of money involved in demonetization and all that, but it's a fact. The then Home Minister, Finance Minister, he has been Chidambaram said he agreed that we were producing our note. The notes were produced with the same paper and ink that was being supplied to Pakistani for producing their own currency. So we know about it. But let me just add. You talked about Kashmir file. I just want to refer to SM Saha. He has been Director General of J&K Police. He made a faux pas. He is against Kashmir file. But he made a faux pas. He said, "Isme to kuch dikhaya nahi jo wahan pe hua." So then the broadcaster asked him, "What was it?" He said, "I was on duty and I got a call at 5 in the morning. I went to the center of Srinagar Habakadal. It's called Kralkot. And you know what I see there? A mother and daughter duo Kashmiri Pandit. They were raped and shot in vagina." This is what Director General of Police SM Sai, who was anti-Kashmir side. No, even 1/10 of that barbarity was not shown in Kashmir file. And Kashmir was also taken up by the Israeli, Jew film critic who had the festival called Propaganda Film. And we reminded him later on when 7th October 2023 happened, whether he would still remember the Kashmir file was based on Kashmir Jihad, Kashmiri jihadists, atrocities on non-Kashmiris Hindus. The same thing was executed on 7th October 2023 on Israelis by Hamas, the Islamists. So
Right.
I'm not surprised. This will continue. The only thing is
I will
we
get
need to
Mr.
counter it.
Akashdeep Muri
We
to
need
respond
counter
to the point you have made, Mr. Lalit Ambedkar. I request you to please stay on with us. In fact, we are getting a reaction as well at this point in time. Let's go across to my colleague Sagrika, who's joining us live from the newsroom. Sagrika, who has reacted on this big controversy?
Mahesh Jethmalani, senior advocate, has countered the review that has been put out by The Economist. And I want you to give me some time because it's a detailed post, Hina. Mahesh Jethmalani says, and I quote while commenting on the review of the Economist, that is the fraud. American power on screen is craft. British power on screen is heritage. Indian power on screen is suddenly evidence of political conditioning. Same cinema, same nationalism, just different skin color. The Economist has wonderfully colonial rule book for cinema. When America straps a camera to Pentagon hardware and sells state power with a soundtrack, it is a spectacle. When a film is made with CIA adjacent mythology around national revenge, it is serious storytelling. But when India puts its enemies and terrorist attack scars on screen, suddenly the magazine reaches for the psychiatrist's couch. That is the real joke here. Fighter jets, spies, commandos and national vengeance are perfectly acceptable as long as the flag fluttering is in the background is American or British. Then it is culture, it is craft, it is cinema doing what cinema does. The Economist has invented a very elegant little rule for cinema. Top Gun, the Maverick can fly on Pentagon muscle. Rambo and Zero Dark 30 can write CIA mythology. James Bond can sell 6 decades of British spy glamour. Dunkirk can turn wartime memory into national legend. And all of that is called storytelling. But the moment India puts terror, retaliation and national memory on screen with Durandar, the magazine starts diagnosing the audience instead of reviewing the film. What The Economist cannot digest is not one film. It is the fact that Indians are no longer outsourcing their memory to London's approval. A country that has lived through decades of Pakistan-sponsored terror is apparently expected to process all that pain in whispers with tasteful disclaimers and preferably under the supervision of foreign editors who still think they are qualified to explain India to Indians. And that is why the review reeks not of sophistication but of the old imperial tick, where Western nationalism on screen is a nation telling its story and Indian nationalism on screen is pathology requiring diagnosis. The costume has changed, the sneer has not.
Well, absolutely. I think one line really sums up what Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani is trying to say that really caught my attention when you were reading it, Sagrika. Same cinema, same nationalism, different skin color. Thank you very much for the moment for joining us with those details. In fact, viewers, at the Times Now summit, BJP leader and former Union Minister Smriti Irani also took on critics head-on, arguing that for years, cinema romanticized terrorism, but Durandar has flipped the narrative. It has completely flipped the script and has resonated with the public. Here's what Smriti Irani told Group Editor-in-Chief Navika Kumar.
स्मृति जी, आजकल एक इकोसिस्टम है जो धुरंधर से बड़ा परेशान है। ये शब्द सुनते ही एक मेल्टडाउन सा हो जाता है। कहते हैं बीजेपी ने ये फिल्म बनाई है, प्रोपेगेंडा की फिल्म है और फाइनेंस भी बीजेपी ने की है। इन्हें आप क्या कहेंगे?
कुछ नहीं, कुछ नहीं। इनको जवाब जनता दे रही है। हमारे देश में ऐसी फिल्में बनी हैं जब टेररिज्म को रोमांटिसाइज किया गया है। That a terrorist will blow up himself and the love of his life has been the mainstay of many movies. For the first time, you have a film, at least which is so popularly right now available, which does not romanticize those who attack India and India's interests. So I am in a position to genuinely, very vehemently say kudos to Aditya for standing up for every Indian whose outrage was never counted. अब किसने सोचा था 4 घंटे अपना फोन छोड़कर लोग स्क्रीन देखेंगे? देखा ना? इसका मतलब इसी देश ने जब आपने टेररिज्म को रोमांटिसाइज किया तो उसे 1200 करोड़ की फिल्म नहीं बनाई। जब आपने टेररिज्म को एक स्टोरी के माध्यम से मुंह तोड़ जवाब दिया तो इस देश के साधारण नागरिक ने उसको सबसे हिस्टोरिकल बॉक्स ऑफिस का रिकॉर्ड दिलाया।